Discord steadily gained control of the moon, desperately trying to stop it before the white orb destroyed everything. The lunar body was now so close that it filled most of the visible space above, looking as if it was a second skyline on top of the other. Suddenly, a large white ring blasted through the air, signaling that the moon had just entered the exosphere of the planet. Due to the fact that another massive object was coming so close, Discord could actually feel the gravity around him lighten as the upwards force of the moon challenged the downward pull of gravity. It was quite the surreal experience, and if Discord wasn't preventing the destruction of Equestria, then he would have stopped to appreciate its grandeur. Discord knew that he was strong enough to stop the moon, but with Nightmare forcing it down in its descent, he was doubting his ability to do it in time. He allowed the magic within his palms to channel more abundantly, widening the lime-green beam that hung between him and the surface of the moon. He knew that Nightmare couldn't keep this power struggle going for much longer, and so Discord would have to gain control of the moon by simply forcing her out. He let out an efforted groan as he widened the beam once again, watching as a green aura encompassed the moon slowly and pushed out all the black, granting him complete telekinetic control. Suddenly, he braced himself, outstretched his arms to the sky as if he were preparing to catch something large, before he began to push upwards against the lunar like dumbbell. In an instant, he could feel hundreds of thousands of tons pressing down against his body like a hammer. He let out a few painful grunts as he pushed against the massive object in the sky. As the Earth and Moon slowly grew closer to each other, the magnetic fields began to interact on a hectic scale. As a result, a few streaks of colored lights began streaking through the space between the moon and the Earth. Suddenly, the entire sky was lit up, as if it had been set ablaze by a colored rainbow flame. Purples, greens, ceruleans, and reds whirled across the heavens, like the sky itself was trying to flee the impending catastrophe. Discord looked painfully at the sky. He couldn't help but notice the irony in the occurrence. During their bleak, final moments, a display so vivid and mesmerizing had emerged from seemingly nothing. It was life's symbolism. Even in the ugliest of ends, there can always exist beauty. During these last dystopian and Stygian moments, life came through like a ray of light in a dark room, inciting one thing within all who witnessed it: hope. Many things will turn out right in the end. No matter how bad things may seem, we will always have hope. And during these things, it is the only thing we have. Discord had never expected Nightmare Moon to go this far. Had he known about her heinous and insane scheme, he would have simply ended her right then and there, preventing this fiasco. He may represent chaos and disharmony, but he wasn't a truly evil being. Not like Nightmare Moon was. He could feel the weight of the moon gradually lifting from his body, as his magical grip over the moon finally solidified. He breathed a heavy sigh of relief as he held the moon in place. He had managed to stop the moon from colliding with the surface of Equestria, with mere minutes to spare. From what he could tell, it would seem as if the moon was only 30 miles from Earth, although it was difficult to tell with the aura partially obscuring the sky. He gazed into the dangerous surface, when he caught sight of a black figure flying overhead, her body but a silhouette against the almost blinding light displaying above. He watched as the large figure arched down before landing in a large puff of dirt and debris in front of him. Discord stared seriously into the cloud of smoke, knowing full too well who was behind it. "Your interference has cost me precious time. Time I cannot afford to spend," said a voice coming from the cloud. As she spoke, she walked out into the open, a livid scowl painted on her face. Discord was in trouble. All of his magic was currently being used to keep the moon in place. The combined gravity of the moon and Earth falling towards each other required all of his resources to counterbalance. If he were to use any magic to defend himself from Nightmare, the moon would begin to fall again. "You will pay for your indiscretions with your life. Discord." Nightmare Moon's horn erupted into a black lightning, shocking Discord where he stood. His face contorted with pain, but not a single muscle moved from its current position. "I'm sorry, but this is one debt I'm afraid I must default upon." Nightmare's face turned and twisted with hate. Another more powerful branch of lightning arced towards Discord. This time he let out a loud scream, pain coursing through his body as he struggled to hold the weight upon his shoulder. Not a single wound could be seen on Discord's body, despite the fight between him and Nightmare. Discord put his head down, breathing heavily. "Had enough yet?" yelled Nightmare as she readied her horn for another blast. Discord looked up at her with a weak smile. "You need a timeout," managed Discord between breaths. "You've been one naughty nightmare." Another bolt of electricity surged through Discord. The pain was overwhelming, causing every muscle in his body to burn, ache, and cramp at the same time. Suddenly, he fell to his knees, his arms still outstretched to the sky, holding the moon with the little strength he had left. Discord's face showed only a smile of pain and strain. Nightmare knew she had Discord where she wanted him. He would be unable to defend himself as long as the moon remained under his support. Normally, Nightmare Moon would have savored the moment, torturing his very existence to the brink of near death, before finishing him off in the most brutal, painful, and humiliating ways possible. But due to the time limit she had been given by the potion, she had to end it now. "Die, swine!" yelled Nightmare as a beam of black energy blasted from her horn. The beam made contact with Discord's skin before dissipating into a flurry of black sparks, inciting painful yells from Discord. Nightmare's face contorted with livid confusion. That beam should have burned right through his flesh and tore his entrails, yet it merely bounced off of him, like swathy confetti. She ignited her horn once more, blasting another black pillar of energy towards the kneeling Discord. The pillar collided with him before, once again, showering uselessly into a rain of blackness. Discord laughed slowly and painfully. "Even in your heightened state, you cannot kill me." Nightmare's face sunk angrily. "No mere pony in any state is capable of killing me. I am much more than a physical creature. I am a spirit. You cannot simply kill something like me. Though, as long as there is disorder, as long as there is disorganization." Discord paused, taking in Nightmare's reaction. "As long as there is chaos, I will live. I may feel the pain from your attacks, and though they hurt like there are actual wounds upon me, I know they will not kill me." Discord rose to his feet, his hands still outstretched towards the sky. "Whether or not this moon falls, it will make no difference in my well-being. I will survive and continue to exist regardless. The only thing that drives me to protect this land is the friendships that I have made, no matter how tentative, superficial, or non-existent they may seem. Therefore, it is my duty to ensure that those friendships exist as long as I do. I protect this land for Fluttershy, Twilight, Celestia." Discord looked into Nightmare's eyes. "Even for you, Luna." Nightmare Moon half opened her mouth, struggling to find any words to vocalize. She only looked evenly at Discord, her face painted with confusion and emptiness. She listened to Discord's words, and she realized that she had failed. Her dramatic ploy for revenge was thwarted by the last person she had expected, and she could only fathom one emotion: emptiness. Her face no longer showed the hatred she had so maliciously emanated so many times before. The glow of morbidity she had demonstrated at Cold Point, Van Hoover, and Cloudsdale had faded and become nothing but a chilly, hollow feeling of confusion. It had almost been 10 full minutes since she had drank the potion, and she could already feel her mind collapsing onto itself. Her vision went blurry. Her mind felt weightless, and she continued collapsing, unconscious. Discord merely stood alone, his hands raised above his head as he closed his eyes peacefully. He slowly began to lift the moon back into the sky, grunts and yells of effort escaping his lips. Slowly but surely, the moon rose above, beginning its long ascent into its prominence in space. As Discord hoisted the moon back into the sky, he couldn't help but wear a small smile. He had won. The world survived because of him, and deep in his stomach, he felt a dignifying feeling of satisfaction. It took a full hour for him to raise the moon back into its normal distance from Earth. And, as he finally let go of the large object, he collapsed into a tired pile on the ground. He had expended incredible amounts of energy on this task alone, and we needed to rest for a long while to regain his reserves. As he laid comfortably in the grass, he remembered something. He looked over at Nightmare Moon's body, which rested peacefully a few feet away. Discord thought for a moment, before snapping his fingers and conjuring a flash of light. Just like that, Nightmare's horns and wings disappeared, leaving only a large, black-tinted earth pony in the grass. He finally closed his eyes out of sheer exhaustion, drifting into a sleep, rejuvenating slumber.